Hi, I'm Heather from Stamps by Judith and Heather, and today I'm going to show you how to make this fun fairy garden card. It has a lot of our new images on it. There are a lot more than this, but everything on here is new except for the little snowflake stamp. And I'm going to show you how to do the little surprise open the door. And if you like this and our techniques of coloring, be sure to check out stampsbyjudith.com and YouTube, and you can subscribe on YouTube, and there's a new notification bell that you can click so when new videos are loaded you'll know. So be sure to check that out and have fun and enjoy watching me color and play with the gnomes and the fairies. Alright, so we're going to start off. I'm going to show you how to color every aspect of this card. We're going to start off with the background, which are my Whimsical Trees. So I have one already colored. I stamped them. Like that. And the colors, oops, in the wrong order. I'm using Tombow Water Color Markers. These are my colors, the numbers of the Tombows. This will be posted online so you can see. So I'm going to start off with my 133, my 192 for the tree color. I'm going to start off with my lighter color and just quickly fill them in. Kind of going with the direction of the trees. So I'm not taking my pen and doing little tiny strokes and coloring. I'm using the brush very quickly. Oops, and I went outside the lines there. That's okay. That, come back in, lime green. Now I'm going to tap it to my 192, whatever this is called, kind of a mossy green. I don't know what the actual Tombow names are. And why I'm doing that is instead of just getting that color with that one on top, I get the two blended together. So I get all the blended intermediate tones. And you can already see how I'm starting to get the shading. And I actually need to wipe these off every now and then just to go back to the clean color. Alright, so there's my first coat. Then I'm going to come back in with my dark. Maybe where the deeper shadows would be. Underneath each section of the tree. Come back with my light. Because every time I go over my light, it will get a little bit darker as well. And you can spend as much time as you want on coloring these, but for my thoughts, that's pretty good. Oops, make sure you get the right lids back on the right markers. Okay, for the leaves on the bottom, I'm going to go, not that color, this is why you should always check your colors. I'm going to go back to the 192, kind of the mossy green. That. And then I'm going to grab the 553 blue, put a little blue in there. Actually, I want to put a little more blue in these on the other side. And then I'm going to, excuse me, grab the 133, the lime green again. Add that. Then for the tree stem, it's 942. It's a soft tan. I'm also going to put that underneath. And then I'm going to shade with the 977. Same effect as before, tapping my light marker to my dark marker. Come back in with the dark underneath where the tree is up into the branches. And then I'm going to take, got these little berries on our plants. So I add some little berries. So that's essentially the trees, the little whimsical trees, and we have them mounted, and here it is unmounted, which it's a preference. If you go with the unmounted, you just need, whether you have your Misty or your acrylic block, they stick to it for repositioning. And all of our stamps come available mounted or unmounted, except for the sticks, stubbies, cubes, and skinnies. Alright, so I have my trees. I'm going to set those aside at the moment. And then the next step on the card, here's our card, is our little acorn house. And the fun part about the acorn house is I'm going to show you how to open the door and we got our little gnome inside. So if you've ever seen the video with the garden gate, it's the same principle. So for coloring, here's my little acorn house. Here are my acorn house colors. This is I-216HK. I'm going to start off with my 942, kind of the soft tan. And sometimes getting a larger area like this to blend can be a little tricky, so it may take a little practice. So I have that. Oops, I don't want the soft yellow. It was the wrong color grab. I want the 133 lime green. And on this one, to get that kind of fun, funky acorn color, I'm going to blend the 942 tan and the 133 green together, using my tan as the carrier, so I get this kind of brownish lime. So it's not exactly green and it's not exactly brown. It's kind of a nice, weird lime. And then you can come back in, green it up a little bit if you want, depending on what color you want your acorn. That would be kind of your acorn. And then the acorn top, oops, again, I do a lot with this 942 brown. I'm just going to color in the top quickly. And I'm going to grab a different darker brown. The 977 is kind of a yellowish brown. 947 is kind of a reddish brown as opposed to the yellowish brown. I'm going to tap the two together. So my acorn has a little bit of a red hue to the top. I didn't want to have too much yellow since I have the limey yellowish green color in the acorn. So you can do that, and blend it in as much as you want. So now for the door, why I closed up my marker, the trick for the door is just to color it in. I use the same two colors. So there's my door, the 947. And this doesn't have to be perfectly blended because it's wood. That's pretty good. Come back in with the dark. And just color the frame around the door darker. Touch up my cap a little bit. Okay, so there's basically my door. The window is 0.55 and 9.85. Oops, it's rolling away on me. Again, tap the two together to build up a nice bright window. The step is the two grays, the N65 and the N95. The N95 is the shadow gray that we use around everything. And then the N65 is a much darker gray. Build up my colors. Check that I have the right markers with the right lids. And then the leaves and things are going to be done the exact same way as I did the leaves in here, in the Whimsical Trees. So I'm going to start off with my 192 green. And you can see how precise I am. And then I'm going to come back in with my 553 blue. And that 133 lime green. And then back to the 942 just to put some ground underneath it. And then I'm going to grab that bright red, the 856, for the doorknob, the berries. You can put little gems on these if you want. There's my Acorn House. Now, to do the door, to make it open, you basically need to stamp the door a second time, or stamp this portion of the stamp a second time and color it and cut it out. You don't need to worry about coloring the rest of the house. So right now we don't have dies for any of these, and so these are fussy cut. And you can see by fussy cutting I did not go into every little crease and crevice. Oops, I just lost my door. So I'm going to take my door and depending on which way you want it to open, now there is the doorknob there, but I'm going to cut around it, cutting through the paper. Basically till about this point. Then I'm going to cut across. Okay, it's loose, but then I'm going to do is just ever so lightly drag my knife to score it. You may have to cut it a little bit further. I'm going to get a smooth opening. Okay, so there's my door. right there. So I got this. Now I have my little door, and yes, the doorknob's going to be on the opposite side. I'm going to take, and I'm going to glue it on, but the first thing I need to do, I'm going to do a little retrofitting. So I'm going to cut off just an edge of the door. Okay, so that's basically, it pretty much fits on there. So I'm going to just glue my door off to the side so I don't have the sticky right where I'm working. Got my glue stick. Right there. Fit the door mostly over the outside. Now you'll see a little bit sticking out, so carefully, this part gets a little tricky. You kind of have to go backwards. Or, forget the trickiness. Cut off part of it that way, and I can get the rest with the scissors. So there we go. And if you have a little white showing, just take and touch it up. So that's basically your door. Fill in where the hinge is. And then you would take a little piece of paper or something and back it, and you can glue. In our case, we glued the little gnome. I cut her out and stuck her in there. So you'd have your little door that opens. Okay. We have our two gnomes. These color up pretty quickly. We have our small girl gnome and our small gnome. The girl gnome is brand new, so we jokingly say our little gnome found a spouse. So what I'm going to do, this is one of the few times that I use the blender, the N00. The blender, basically I'm going to pick up some soft pink, barely getting any pink, and I'm going to color his skin. It's very, very subtle, because to color skin, that is almost just too pink right away. So I have his face, and her face, and her hands. Then I'm going to come back in with the pink, add a little bit darker cheek, same for her. So I have that. Okay, so to color her top, it's basically the same as the leaves and everything else I've done. It's the 133, that lime, and then I'm going to tap the lime to the 192. Alright, so I have her little blouse, dress shirt. So there's her little limey green shirt. Her skirt, I'm going to start off with the 491. It's a soft, kind of a soft teal. And then I'm going to tap that to the 553 blue and build up the colors. And he's essentially going to be the exact same colors. You can see he just doesn't have the lime green. He has gray boots, so he would be colored essentially in the exact same way. That's kind of why I would do them as a pair. So I got her little skirt. Come in and do her hair. And the red for her, whatever you call it, her hat. Like I said, he would be the same process. So we got them. All right, the fairy, I'm just gonna kind of speed through her because she would be essentially the same thing with the skin, would be the blender in the pink for her skin tones. Her wings, I start off, it's not with the bright yellow, but with the soft lemon yellow. So there's her soft lemon yellow wings. Pick up some of the golden orange. And just closer to her body, color it the golden orange. And then come back in close to the body a little bit darker. Now her dress, not her skirt, her dress would be the 491 soft teal and the 552 darker teal. So I'd start off coloring her dress soft teal color and then come back in and pick up the darker color and then shade accordingly. So what, oops, keep putting the wrong lids on the wrong markers. So what you'd have when she's all done is that one. So we have a little gnome. There's two more things I'm going to quickly kind of go through. The mushrooms are fun because you can do all sorts of different color tops. The leaves on the bottom and the berries, again, back to here, back to the Acorn House, they're all the same principle. Okay, the top on this, the bigger mushroom, is essentially three colors. It's the 673, the 665, and then the 553. I'm going to start off with this soft magenta color right there. This is the color I want to shade with, but again, too dark to just put right over the top. Tap the two together, and I'm kind of going to tap to create a texture. I have a speckled texture, and then I'm going to come back in the dark, and then the 553 blue just kind of gives it a purpley fleck. The yellow mushroom is the bright yellow, the 055. And the 985, the golden orange. And again, tap, tap, tap to kind of get a texture. So you have that. And again, the mushroom colors, oh, here was the tiny fairy colors. There's the tiny fairy. Here are the three mushrooms Lots of different colors in the stems and things like that. So move those. And then the last thing is this new little swirl leaves. Here's a couple samples. Very easy to color. I come in, just kind of follow the swirl. Oops. 192 green, $5.53 blue, and then the $9.42 brown, and then I'm just going to take that $6.73, the light magenta, and just tap, tap, tap. Could take some of that $5.53 blue in there if you wanted. Now to put the card together, everything was pretty much cut out. Like I said, we don't have dies available. So here's my trees. I would take my little Acorn House, put whatever color backing, and you could stick this all together with kind of a dimensional double stick tape. In the sample I have the lady gnome in the house, so maybe this one you do opposite. So he would be in the house. Just make sure he's all in the house and his hat's not sticking out the door. Here's our little lady gnome. You can stick some swirl flowers, swirl leaves, a mushroom or two. The fairy, she can be, I have mine sitting in the mushrooms. She can sit up there. I could have her over here sitting on the tree. It's all sorts of fun things you can do with them. Or you could change it and have her sitting in the house and the gnomes on the outside. And then the little backgrounds. We have a dot row stamp you can use. Or if you want to get a little wild and crazy, this is just a Pilot fine line pen. You can really get swirly. And you can do the little squiggly dots. And then the stars are just the little double A snowflake, like that, and a darker blue pen, and all I do to make it a bigger star is draw some extra dots coming out of it. So you can make it as big as you need or as you like. It's like expand a star. Oh, and that's basically, at this point, it's just putting it together. You could add frogs, you could add turtles, stick ladybugs, all those little fun things in there. But there's your finished card and your gnomes in their happy home.